Hi guys, so today I wanted to talk to you about what if games didn't have point costs printed on the cards. But before I jump into that, I also want to announce a big thing. I'm having a addition to the current giveaway I have going on right now. So if you aren't aware, I'm running a painting contest on Crabbok.com. Basically, submit your best painting in preparation for Star Wars Legion. The winner's going to get a free core set for Star Wars Legion in the form of a gift card to Miniature Market. Well, I've decided I've got a lot of entries and there's a lot of great submissions up there. In the effort to promote more entries, and as well as to include everybody else who maybe doesn't have the best painting skills, I'm going to also do a door prize. So basically, to enter this, all you have to do is to be a subscriber to the channel. That's the first thing. You have to be a subscriber. Leave a comment on this or one of my videos. But also, to get an additional entry, all you have to do is submit any entry into the painting contest. So if you do submit an entry into the painting contest, you are also going to get a second entry into the contest. And this is for a $20 gift card to Miniature Market. So you can use this for an expansion or anything else, or you can combine it with an existing order or whatever. So an extra $20 gift card for Miniature Market. Only thing you need to do to enter is to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. If you want to get an extra bonus entry, I'm giving those out to anybody who enters the painting contest. So you basically have more chances to win if you do enter, but you still can enter if you can still win the door prize even if you don't enter the painting contest. So that's kind of a big deal. So make sure you are a subscriber and click the little bell for alerts because you don't want to miss that. But now on to the main point of this video. There's been a lot of errata in different games lately, and the errata in X-Wing has caused a lot of discussion on people being very dissatisfied on printed errata. And this is kind of there's a lot of arguments on both sides, and I've certainly have not been a big fan of printed errata in the past, because primarily, it changes the cards you have. Unless you're very up to date, it can be very hard for a casual player to stay up to date on what has been errated, especially things like the Jump Master that have been nerfed multiple times now. It's tough to really keep track of everything. Now, if you're a casual player and you don't check the forums and you don't go to ffg.com and check out the latest FAQ, it's very easily to get lost in what's actually appropriate. So if maybe you just play at home with your family or a small group of friends, and then you decide to go to a tournament one day, and somebody's going to say, "Hey man, this whole list isn't legal. All this stuff has been changed," and you won't even know. So there's a big problem with that, and and of course I think, because X-Wing has grown to a certain point, that I think is kind of inevitable. I mean, Armada has had some changes too, some errata changes. Nothing really as big as X-Wing had, but I think Imperial Assault was the first one to have some really hard printed errata changes. And I've never played Imperial Assault really that competitively. I haven't done very many tournaments. I think I've done 2. And so it was harder for me, and I really felt I've been very competitive in some games and I've been very casual in other words, so I've kind of run the gamut there. And so I can see how it affects a casual player a lot more severely than a very serious and hardcore player who stays up to date on everything and prints out everything and has all the references handy and knows exactly the answer to every question, or mostly I don't know exactly the answer to every question, but usually I know where to go to find the answers. So it's definitely harder to to please everybody. And certainly if you don't do that. So my proposal, and this is kind of a proposal to FFG, but a proposal to you guys as well, is what if a game were to come out that did not have printed point costs, at least on the unit cards? This is the kind of the formula for most games, most tabletop games, at least most FFG games, is that a unit, let's say infantry, will have a point cost. Let's say the infantry costs 50 points, and if you want to add, shiny swords to the infantry, that's an extra 5 points. And if you want to add, a long tower shield to the infantry, that's an extra 7 points, etc. But usually what we've seen, like in the case of X-Wing, it would be like the X-Wing ship, right? Or the B-Wing ship. I mean, those are, we see titles that come out and give point cost reductions and all different, things that have been rebalanced. Well, what if, and I think we're starting to see that with Armada Wave 7, we're getting new Imperial Star Destroyer ship cards that have different point costs, and I think that's kind of an attempt to rebalance the Imperial Star Destroyer is point without necessarily changing one that's already there. They're just like, well, here's a new one that's an even better one, right? So suppose ships or units for other games didn't have a printed point cost at all. Maybe upgrades can still have a printed point cost, because I think at a certain point you're going to have way more upgrade cards than unit cards. But suppose unit cards didn't have a printed point cost, and instead there was a master list that had all of the point costs. This would allow easy changes, because you're not changing a printed errata. Now, for a casual player, you are still kind of in the same predicament. If they don't stay up to date, then they won't have the most up-to-date point costs. But in theory, this would allow for a number of different things. First off, this is kind of taken from the idea that Legion is coming out and is going to have an online rules reference guide. This way, it's going to be a living document that will always be live updated. So that much is very cool, and also allows them a lot of flexibility. If something needs to be changed, boom, we change it online, instantly across the board, it's changed for everything. But the problem is, Legion, we've already seen the unit cards. They already have their point costs on them. So this isn't something that they could do in Legion at all right now. So I'm thinking this would be like the format for maybe a new game. If they ever do like maybe X-Wing 2.0 or a whole nother game, maybe just try without point costs on the units. So what are some advantages? For one, this would allow for quick on-the-fly updates. This would allow for power creep to be instantly affected, right? If, let's say, X-Wing didn't have printed point costs, oh, well, X-Wings are too expensive. No problem. You know what? You're right. In the meta, after 12, 13 waves, X-Wings are, they can't compete with what's out there now. No problem. We're going to reduce X-Wings by a point across the board. Did that work? Next month, no, still not good enough. Another point. Done. You can do like live play testing that way. You can just put it out and change it across the board. And that would be, an easy way for them to deal with balance without having to come out with titles that, and now all of a sudden everybody feels like they are compelled to have to buy the new upgrade that gives them the point cost reduction. The point cost reduction is just, boom, it's done. And I think it's better for the health of the game. Another thing that can do is that can give them seasons. Like maybe for the 2018 season of, I'm going to call it Crabbok's X-Wing 2.0, right? Let's say the fictional game doesn't have printed point costs. But it's going to follow the model of X-Wing, right? Let's say, and also let's say we have pilot cards instead of different pilot cards for every ship. We have, just one ship and just pilot upgrades, which would be great. And that people have been suggesting that for years. That would have been a great idea. But let's just say we want to have a season where we return back to the basics. So for 2018, to encourage more X-Wings, everything at the Battle of Yavin is getting a point cost reduction. Maybe not TIE fighters, because they're already kind of, appropriately costed. But maybe TIE Advanced all get a point cost reduction. X-Wings get a point cost reduction. Maybe X-Wings get 2 points. Maybe TIE Advanced get 2 points off. Maybe Y-Wings get 1 point off. And maybe just a return to the original theatrical, or maybe the original trilogy. TIE Interceptors, maybe they get a 2 point cost reduction. Maybe B-Wings and A-Wings each get a point off. And you could just do that for a season, and then say, okay, now it's going to be a classic ships, right, or older ships that have been refitted. So things like the Millennium Falcon, maybe things like the ARC 170 go cheaper, or maybe certain things become more expensive. It allows you to have better, control over themes, or maybe just a month, maybe for a specific tournament. This also allows for house rules. Maybe for a whole community in your greater metropolitan area, there's a big gaming group and they say, hey guys, let's try running a league with a twist, and here's the point values. And it just to shake up the meta, because with as many ships as you've got in a game like X-Wing, and any miniatures game that's going to expand thoroughly, you're going to eventually come to a point where you've got so many units, but people are only using the best units. And if you ever want to shake up the meta, having a living point cost document would be a great way to do that. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be an across-the-board change permanently. It'd be a great way for local communities to influence point costs with a single document. Now, I'm not saying that local communities can't already do something like this now. I've heard stories of small tournaments being run with, with special rules, and that's fine. But it can become complicated, especially when you have so many different combinations. But if you've got a game system that's designed from the ground up with a living point cost document in mind, then you're already prepared for a simple change to affect the entire game. Okay, X-Wings go down a point, boom, done. And it's easily implemented across the whole thing. Now let's take a look at what that meta is going to be. So I think it'd be healthier for the game. I think it'd be better for the casual, because the casual player now only has to reference one document, right? So if you have an internet connection and you're thinking about going to a tournament, the only thing you'd ever need to do is bookmark one document, and it'd be all right there in a single spreadsheet format. You wouldn't have to pour through 30 pages of a rules reference guide or FAQ. You won't have to go searching, because you might not even know what you're looking for. You might not even know that maybe this one card in your build got to change. So you might not even think to do it. But if the game is designed that way from the ground up, you will always think to. Now you still include the starting point cost change in the core set, but maybe every year you put in there, every year go check and see if the points have changed based on what the new what the new meta is. But I'd just like to hear what you guys think about an idea like that. Do you think that an idea like that has any merits, or do you think it would be a bad idea not to have the points printed on the cards? Or do you think you would take it all the way further and say no points on the upgrade cards either? I think that would make list building a little bit more difficult, though, unless you put out an official companion app that that was real-time updated with list building. But other than that, I think it would make it really difficult to build your own lists. But or do you think it should be something altogether different that doesn't even have point costs at all and has some other methodology for building? Maybe goes by weight, by how heavy the plastics are, or something even more off the wall. I'd love to hear your ideas on how to come up with a system that doesn't have as a difficult time coming up with errata for power creep if the game ends up being successful. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Make sure you check out the contest, hit the subscribe button and the little bell for alerts. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It helps me out. And leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Make sure you enter the contest. You just have to be a subscriber. Very easy. Just hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and have a great day.